today we're really excited to have Sean with us, and he basically sums up everything I love about working with children. It's about giving them adventure, pushing them beyond their boundaries and taking them out of their comfort zone. And the more we can do that as parents, the more chance we have of our children just doing so well and exceeding as they grow up and get older. So welcome, Sean. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell me about what you're going to do. What is the adventure this summer?
Okay, fantastic. So this is a first for some expeditions. We're very, very experienced on going on big mountains with adults and adult groups and even younger children with their parents. But this is the first time I'm going to take a group of teens, 15, 16 and 17-year-olds, over to Tanzania. We're going to have 8 days of an amazing adventure. We're going to climb a mountain with them. We're going to go on a safari. And really importantly, we're going to do a charity visit with bouncing ducks over there. So a bit of everything for them, get them out of the Dubai bubble, give them an amazing adventure in this incredible country.
So this is for children that have finished GCSEs, not quite started A-levels, need an adventure. They need something to really get their teeth into.
Absolutely. And as we spoke to before, it's like getting them away from the parents, getting them away from the Dubai bubble. It's in the summer, so they want to get away from here anyway. And it's just getting them to meet kids from other schools as well. So I know a lot of the school trips that they do are with their kids that they spend years with in classrooms, whereas this is getting kids from different schools, getting them out there just before they start sort of the high pressure of their final year of A-levels. So it's those 2 really important years. And also it's the years before they're going off to university and applying for university. And it's giving them a taste of kind of the outside world of their own.
The taste of freedom.
Absolutely, yes, exactly.
I think it's really important. For me, I think once children learn to stand on their own 2 feet, they taste that kind of that adventure, that there's more outside the world. We see them doing so much better because they have a purpose and they find their resilience.
Yeah, absolutely. And somebody said to me, why is it so important to be taking teens up there? And I say, because I see what it's like to take somebody who is 40 or 50 or 60 is top of Kilimanjaro, and I see the impact that it has on their life for the next few decades. Imagine if we can do that for a teen who is 15 or 16, who's going through those kind of formative years, who's just about to go to university, go into their 20s, go out to the big, wide, scary world, and we can take them up in the mountain and show them that they've got that physical and mental endurance and perseverance and grit. If they can prove themselves on a mountain, they'll do so much better as they go into those difficult university years, starting their first job. And so, the impact that we can make on someone who's 15 or 16 is so much greater than 40 or 50.
You used, that was my favourite word, as grit. And the research that's gone into that word grit that says that children who have got grit do better academically, physically, professionally, just in life, because they found that grit. Now, it's one thing we don't teach in schools. And it's people like you that just put that into their lives in such a great way. So tell me, how fit do these children have to be? That's probably the burning question. It's a long trek.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So it is. Meru is a beautiful mountain. It's known as Kilimanjaro, and brother is the 5th highest mountain in Africa, but it's not as high altitude. It goes up to about 4,500 meters, which is sort of high enough that they're going to feel the effects of altitude, but not so high that they're sort of high risk, which you sometimes are in Kili. But the incredibly frustrating but funny thing about this is that kids and adults, especially teens, are unbelievable physically on the mountain. Us adults will be limping up there, we'll be breathing heavy, and the kids will be walking past us, chatting away, singing all the way to the summit and back down. So I don't worry physically about the kids or about the teens when they're on the mountain. I think they'll all absolutely smash it because they're naturally, especially out here where so much sports and out about sort of co-curricular activities, they're all active anyway. What I'm more concerned about, but something that we've got to talk to them about, is the mental side of getting to the top of the mountain, because they're going to be trekking for 4 days. They're going to be in a strange environment, sleeping in huts, not tents. Luckily, the toilet situation isn't as glamorous as it is here. So mentally, I think it's going to be a completely new environment. And what I always say to people is, on these mountains, you try and rely on as much past experience as you have. If you haven't been through tough things, if you've ever done any big endurance events, then use that experience. For kids, they don't tend to have that. So this is going to be the first time that they're in a sort of unusual foreign environment. It's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning on a summit night. Then those are the times where they're going to build that grit, because it's those times when they go, I want to go down. We go, you're not going down. Whatever you've got inside you, bring it up to the surface, get yourselves up to that summit. Because when you stand there and you see the sunrise On the top of Mount Meru, you can see Kilimanjaro 60 kilometers away, and you can look over the plains of Tanzania. That's the memory they'll take them for the rest of their life. And the harder it is mentally, the more that they're going to get out of that experience.
Yeah, I totally agree. When I was 16, I was very lucky enough to go on a tour through the Rocky Mountains cycling, and it was absolutely amazing. But I have to say, it changed me because I think on day 2, we'd been cycling uphill for 2 days, and I think I'd got to the point where I said, I want to stop. And the counsellors that were with me at the time said, you're not stopping. That's not an option. We're going.
Yeah.
And do you know, it's like, I in my memory, it was probably 10 days uphill. It wasn't 10 days uphill, but it feels like it. But it changed me as a person. And it suddenly made me realise that nothing was impossible. And I think that mindset is the one that could carry kids so much further.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I completely agree. And I was lucky enough to do a few things in my teens, as you do in the UK, and if you do go on some of these adventures, then I was running the English Channel as part of a relay team.
That's the English Channel. No one can explain how, why.
It was part of a charity called the Southwest Wings, which was supporting underprivileged kids in North Devon. And I was a trainer, sort of 18 years old in the summer holidays before going off to university. And I remember just getting involved in it. And they said, we've got 2 of the kids who are going to do it with us. They were both almost 15, almost 16. And then we had the chairwoman who was in her late 70s, and then they needed some people in the middle who were just going to sort of fill the gaps. And
that's, I mean, when it's because it's cold, I have to say that cold steel, I don't do that anyway. But it's quite a busy shipping lane. So how complicated is that to swim that?
Well, it was more so we trusted the pilot of the boat.
Okay.
But for most of the sort of 5-6 hours, so we started at 4 a.m, and because it was a relay, do an hour on, and then you've got 5 hours off whilst 5 people go through it. So we had the pilot of the boat was navigating us over to France, and we did the first few hours in the dark. I jumped in at I think 4 a.m. to swim my first thing in the dark.
Yes, yeah, it's scary. The boss man is dark.
It is daunting, and it is very, very cold. And because if you're a solo, you can lather yourself up in goose fat and duck fat because you're not able to get on and off the boat. From a safety perspective, as a team, you can't do that. So you're literally jumping in Speedos and you're off. So I jumped back on the boat, and at that point the sun's rising, but it's completely foggy. Like I can't see from here to the window, and all you can hear is the big horns of the container ships, and you don't know if they're 10 meters away or 200 meters away. That's very scary. But we got about 16, 17 hours in, and by chance, I was the one who got to swim the last leg.
Wow.
So I was the one that came in, swam into France. And it was quite funny because I swam in, and then all these people are obviously see it happening because they can see people swim as in. Some people go on one way, they just swim the channel. They can't see the rest of the team. It looks like last time I jumped. So I get up there, everyone's cheering, and an amazing experience. We raised some £20,000 for the charity, which was great. But that kind of built my love of not just doing these challenges, but also supporting others.
Yeah.
And when I first climbed Kilimanjaro 7 years ago, I took more out of taking my friend Mark to the summit. To the summit nights, I knew that I was quite comfortable in that environment. It was more about getting in there. It was about getting myself there. And that's why I started some expeditions as well, because that love of taking people up to these mountains. And I always say to people, like, I used to sit in a corporate, I used to sit in an office and was absolutely miserable in my life. And even when it's 3, 4, 5 a.m. on the summit nights, it's freezing and everyone's struggling, I'd still rather be in that environment than I would back in an office. But I also get to be a part of people's lives. It's the same for the teens as well. When they get to the top of Mount Meru and they have this just realization about what they've done, I get to be a part of that part of their life. It's really, really special. And I get to do that huggy society deal.
So there's amazing job. So tell me more about some of the expeditions. You've got a partner?
Yes.
Carmade?
So Caroline Leon, absolutely incredible person. So if anyone wants to look her up, she fell off a climbing wall about 5 years ago, I want to say now. So fell 10 meters off, dropped onto her leg, shut all of her lower body, almost bled out. People said she wasn't going to walk again. She slowly walked. They said you weren't going to run again. And within 2 years, with the help of a chap named Keith at VTC, he managed to get her climbing mountains, and she tried to set a record for climbing to summiting every mountain in the Middle East. And she almost did it. I think it was Syria and Yemen that she couldn't do, but she never done it. She's just broken the record for the fastest female summiting of the volcanic summits, the 7 volcanic summits. So going from literally, and she's bionic. She has like an artificial vertebrae, her bones split her spine. She has, my feet are all vulnerable. Like, it's just incredible what she's able to do. And now she's climbing these mountains, and she's literally now just summited Loboche, I think she's in, or Island Peak, with a 14-year-old girl with Sophie, who's doing the Summit to get another one of our sort of teams who's incredible. So yeah, it's inspirational working with her. She does those kind of big mountains, and I love all the other adventures as well. So we've got a team going to Uganda in the summer, and we do obviously Kilimanjaro. We've got Morocco next year, Kenya next year. So yeah, we just sort of built it out as kind of the demand for it. Like Kilimanjaro and Meru are our bread and butter. We do Kilimanjaro 15 trips a year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't say I don't put my name down for climbing. That's not quite my... I love being at the top, but I'm not sure about the route going up. So in terms of the team trips,
Yes.
the team trip, which obviously where my parents are interested,
Yeah.
how many miles a day or kilometres a day we can walk?
Yes, so it's I always do by altitude. So it's very hard on a mountain because you could have like summit night on Kili or even summit night on Meru is 5 kilometers, but it'll take you 8 hours. So the way that I always like to do is in time and height. So we do about 1,000 meters of ascent every day. So the first 2-3 days. So you go from about 1,500 at the gate. You then walk on the first day for about 3-4 hours. It's only 10 kilometers, but it's an incredible first day. On the bigger mountains, you go too high too quickly. So on Kilimanjaro, you just go to, it becomes volcanic. You lose a lot of the nature that's in Tanzania. On Meru, because you stay low, you're actually walking through the Arusha National Park. So every time I've done Meru, I've definitely seen giraffes, buffalo, warthogs, baboons, colobus monkeys. The other time we were on it, we were walking down one of the trails in the rainforest, and there was a juvenile male giraffe just in the trail, and the ranger who was with us was like, he goes, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've never seen that before. So every trip we do is something special. And you know, the first day is just full of wildlife and beauty and rainforest. And especially come from here, it's just incredible.
It must be just overwhelming. Yes.
It really is. And then we stay at Saddle Hut. I've stayed at Maracamba Hut for the first night. The next day we go from 2,500 meters up to 3,500 meters, which is the point where you're starting to feel a little bit out of breath. But again, teams do way better than I say. So if it's sort of my personally, I'll be double their age. I'll be the one that's puffing and panting. They'll be the one that's chattering away and singing. And yeah. So at this point, we go above the clouds, which is incredible. We look over the plains of Tatse, see Kilimanjaro in the distance. We then do a hike up to Little Meru, which is sort of an acclimatization hike. We go up to 3,800 meters. From there, we have these beautiful views. I point them the crater that we're going to be walking up the next day. And then on day 3, they go to from a Saddle Hut, which is 3,400 meters up to 4,500 meters. And that takes anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. It's very slow. It's very steady. It's very safe. We have our lead guide in the front. We have our lead guide in the back. In the middle, we have myself and our waters. It's usually a 1-to-1 ratio. So if anything happens, we have a lot of support team there. And we just snake our way up the mountain. And it's only about 5 kilometers.
They're walking, not climbing at this point.
Yes.
Scrambling.
With Meru, it is a trek, is a warning. So at no point that we have to tie anyone in, or we put high hurts on. There's no point at which you're in that situation where you're sort of on the shift place of a cliff and you could fall off. It's just not that sort of mountain, which is nice.
Yes.
But it is tough, you know. It is sometimes it's quite volcanic. So every step you take, it's a bit like walking in the jeans here. You sort of slip back a bit. You know, mentally that's a struggle when you've already been walking for 5-6 hours, but slowly the sun starts to rise, you get a little bit warmer, and then you can see the summit, and you're up there. It's incredible.
And once they get to the summit, they see the summit and take their photos, and they stay there, or they come back down now?
They can stay there for about 15 minutes, and then the realization of, I've now got to get my body back down this now, so again,
and the theory that going down is easier than going up isn't true.
I know that. It's because by that point, your legs are a little bit tired, and also just going down, you're going a little bit faster. But again, teams are, they're bouncy, they're agile. It's again, the people with the dodgy knees and the dodgy ankles and the injuries, which again, if you're 16, 17, don't have, you'll be able to find, they'll be right around the mountain. And we get them down to one of the lower camps, because even at 4,500 meters, I don't expect anyone to be having any sort of real sickness from the altitude, but they're feeling a little bit out of breath, maybe a bit of a headache. The quicker we get them down, the better they'll feel. Get them down to 2,500 meters. And then the next day, the 4th day, we take them out of the park. So then we go by the waterfalls and these lakes where the giraffes always hang out, and we just sort of give them a nice experience on the way out.
Sounds amazing.
It's incredible.
And my interest was in them when you're traveling.
Lots of carbohydrates, lots of sugar, and this is what people love about it. Is I say, do not carry calories on the mountain, and teens won't anyway. As I bring every single snack that you can think of. We'll feed you 3 big meals a day. You have chocolate bars and juices and things between meals, but otherwise they can bring all the chocolate bars they want, all the snacks they want, because they're going to need that fuel to get them up and down the mountain. But generally mornings are porridge, eggs, breads, breads, that sort of thing. We cater to pretty much any dietary restriction as well. And then lunches and dinners are always the same. It's kind of a soup and bread to start, and then they have some sort of carbohydrate, bread, pasta, potatoes, rice, and then vegetarian, non-vegetarian. Then it's surprising how good the food is, considering they're cooking it on this tiny little gas stove at 3,500 meters. It really is. It's,
So they're not going to starve.
No.
Perfect. Yeah.
No.
And then when they come back down, you said you were mentioning earlier about bouncing books, or just like.
So that's kind of day 4 of the trip, of the hike, or day 5 of the actual itinerary. We take them back. We have a lovely celebration dinner where we give them their Meru certificate so they can keep that and they can frame it at home and put some photos in as well. The next day we then do a safari. So we take them into Tarangire National Park, which is known for its elephant herds, but it's also got all of the big 5 apart from rhinos. So they are likely to see lions, maybe leopards if they're lucky, but definitely giraffes and zebra and buffalo. And we do 2 big game drives there, or we give them a picnic in the safari park as well, which is amazing. And then take them back to the hotel that night. And then the final day, in the morning, we take them to see Bouncing Books, which is a charity started by Rachel and Luke, who were ex-UA residents, who moved over there with the family, and they started this incredible charity. It's real kind of grassroots, which I love, because some of the charities are there, you feel like the funds are getting lost a little bit, whereas the donation that we're giving to them, which is already built into the package, each child is giving a $500 donation, which we're built in. And part of that is going to look at the libraries that they set up. So their sort of ethos or their mission is to set up libraries and sort of holding all libraries in underdeveloped villages and towns in Tanzania. So places where they have absolutely no resources, they go there, build this library, fill it, have volunteers up, and then the children and the adults of the village can then come and take out the library books. And it's also a home for people to come and learn and gather, and it's absolutely incredible. So we'll go and meet some of the volunteers with Rachel, and then depending on what sort of itinerary he puts together, I'd like working alongside the volunteers for a couple of hours. But again, these charities, they are working charities. We don't want to overburden them with looking after the teens rather than doing their job. But if they can meet some of the volunteers, meet some of the villagers and the children, then that's exactly what we want. Yeah, so you've jam-packed 8 days.
And the dates you're going?
So at the moment, it's either the 12th to the 19th of August or the 13th to the 20th. So either one kind of things like that. Right before the GCSE results come out. So the GCSE results come out the next week. So we thought, get it in and also get their minds off of the GCSE.
That's a really good idea, because I think they are stressing there's a big time. Brilliant. And you fly, and who do you fly with? What's your...
So this is the difference between the 2 days. On the 12th to the 19th in Kenya, and they're about 2,400 dirhams in the moment flight cost. And then it is the next day with Emirates, but Precision Air, and they're about 3,500. So what we're looking to do is get the group confirmed, and then just discuss with them. Say, but how's everyone feeling price-wise? Would you rather the Emirates Precision flight or the Kenya one? I'm easy either way. We've blocked out those time, and I'll live the team in Tanzania fine either way. And I'll fly with them there and back. So normally I'll go the day before, whereas I'll fly with them on whichever flight it is.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay. And so total cost and package to do this?
So at the moment, we're doing it for cost. So this isn't a profit-driven trip for us. It's very much a pilot program for us. And next year we can ramp it up. So it's tiered based on the number of kids we have. So we need a minimum of 4 to make it go ahead. And at the moment, I think we just about got that. If it's 4, then it's something like 11,900 dirhams. But every extra child that comes on helps that price by about 400 or 500 dirhams. So if we get 8 to 10, then I think it's looking around 10,000 dirhams.
So really, I mean, for a parent, you're looking at about 12,000 dirhams, which is like £2,000. What a bargain. It's like an adventure of a lifetime as something that they remember forever. I just think that is just the most incredible opportunity. Yeah. And I think it's also not just about them having something they'll remember. It's about changing their lives and changing them to get great resilience, being able to work independently, solve problems. I just think that is the most amazing opportunity. So parents, I'm going to put the information for Sean in there. In the meantime, we're going to go back and very quickly explore. Sean, you mentioned that you came from corporate world.
Yes.
Why? How did you?
Yes, my life over the first 10 years of working was a bit all over the place. So I left school, went and worked in the film industry with my dad as a runner. Did that for 3 years. He retired, and I thought, this is not really the thing for me. So I went back to university. I did a biomedical degree with the idea to go into sort of biomedical investment funds, all that sort of rubbish, and chasing money for years and years, which it just was so silly at the early 20s without any other passion or focus. That's default setting, just go to work and earn money and focus on that. So I worked as an analyst, financial analyst for a while. I then worked at a trust company for a while, and then eventually I became the COO of a tech company called, it was Emirates St. or is now Yombley, which any parents who work in schools and not tech is everywhere now. And I did that for 3 years, and the first 18 months were absolutely amazing. The second 18 months were absolutely terrible, and I became very, very depressed, let's say. I put on 15 kg of fat, not muscle. I was in the worst place in my marriage, in my life, my friends. I lost all my friends because I was working. It was ridiculous hours and always miserable. And I remember getting to the point where I would get out of bed and just sit on the end of my bed with my hands, my head in my hands for 20 minutes and just think, what on earth am I doing? And I had no plan at this point, but I one day woke up and I gave my resignation and said, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I have literally no idea what I'm doing. And then a few years later, my father passed away. So for me, there was this massive sort of change in my life. But it was also encouragement that what I'd done was the right thing. Because he was a film producer, I remember going onto a Facebook page for all sort of film industry people. And when somebody had announced, PA had announced, by the way, Alfred Burgess had passed away, the comments that he had on his Facebook post, there were hundreds of them. And there was so, I worked with Al when I was in my 20s. What a lovely guy. This is what he did for me. What a passionate man. He loved the film shoot, loved people. And I've always been proud of him. And when I read that, I'm like, that's a life that you're proud of living, because you get to the end of it and you look back and all these people, like, you did the job that you loved and you were a great person for doing it. And like for me, I was like, I need to find that. I need to find my passion, my love. And yeah, getting in and doing these adventures, that's exactly it. I love my job.
I can tell that you're passionate, but absolutely comes through. And I just think, I always say to children, I say, follow what you love, because the world's, you will always be better at what you love. And you're in the world for a very long time to do something you don't love. So it's a very brave move, but obviously the right one. And then I just want to move on very quickly, because you mentioned that you take parents as well. So you do some trips with parents and children.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So we are sort of 80% of our business is adult trips. Not only, but we tend to be adults who want to do it. And we very much have that market of kind of the 35 to maybe 65. People who've got a little bit older kids and they're suddenly thinking, I want to focus on me now. So I wanted to go and do that thing that I've never done before, which is climb Kilimanjaro as a traditional model. Everest Base Camp. We do parent and younger teen trips. So I was on Mt Meru with Zoe and her son Stan, who was 14 a few months ago. And my business partner Caroline was Sophie, who's 14, and I'm with her dad Sam. So we do a lot of those trips as well. But this is the first of those kind of teens only trips. But that's something that we want to get more and more into. So we see the potential.
So how many mountains do you climb in a year, roughly?
Oh God! So I probably do 10. I've got 10. Yeah.
Well, you look so fit.
I knew the jar. But it's funny because I come back here and I film the weight. So I'm like, I'll get back on another mountain. Yeah, if I'm on Kilimanjaro for a month, I'll lose probably 10 kg because it's just down.
Hey, you might be making it sound a bit more beneficial to climb.
It's like a diet.
Yeah. So what are your plans? So this year you've got your teens event.
Yes.
What else is going on?
Oh, so I'm back on Mt Meru in June. I'm taking a gym up with them, and then we've got 15 of their gym goers going. The next month I've got INSEAD MBA program. They're taking us, so I'm taking them up Kilimanjaro. Then I've got the kids trip in August. My business partner's in Uganda in August. She's taking a group there. She's also in Denali next month. So no, this is sort of everywhere at the moment, but we want to regulate some new trips. We want to do Mount Tobkul in Morocco. I think that'd be a really fun one. A good teens trip as well for the future. Mount Kenya I want to do, and then we just sort of build it out from what people want. Once people come on one trip with us, it is very much so like, well, what's the next one? What's the next one? What's the next one? And so we kind of let them decide. So, well, where do you want to go? And we'll organise it, take you there. And
so it comes with a bit of a warning that if your child does this, you'll be paying them for the experience. Just as long as I know.
Absolutely. And mountains are not cheap expedition. When you get to the bigger ones, but at the moment the kids one's fine. Yeah.
That's amazing. And so just for our parents, and what would you expect to see from a child that climbs a mountain? What's the difference in them when they come back down?
Oh God, it's like anything that we see with the Allens as well. That sense of I send most people a message afterwards, and I'm like, your watermark for what you can achieve is now so much higher, and that belief in yourself. I set a couple of world records, and I've done all these unique challenges and stuff. So I know that when I'm in a tough space in my life, I can look back on what I have done and know that I've got the perseverance and the grit and the endurance to be able to push through it. So not only will they come back to collaborate, but they'll have this just belief in the back of their head. Every time something's hard, it's like, yeah, but I survived Mount Meru. When it was, all I wanted to do was turn around at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. I was the one that pushed myself and kept going. So we're not going to carry them up there. It's still their 2 legs that are going to get up there, and that. Just that belief in themselves, I think, changes. And especially for kids now, I think that sort of the real formative years in the 15, 16, 17, where you're having those doubts and the world is a big scary place, and going into that, just that confidence. I mean, and also the independence, I think, they're about to go off to university in a few years' time, knowing that they're going to travel on their own and be independent, I think is
I think, I think one of the things you said there is really true, is that when they're 14, 15, they don't know who they are. And I think finding themselves in a person and knowing that they have the stamina to be the person they want to be, I think that's really important as well. I'm sure they'll find it. Now I'm going to just pop back. You just dropped in them. And of course I've got a couple of world records. You can't just drop that in and not tell us what they are.
So I did the 7 Everest challenge post-COVID, where I ran, walked and crawled my way from the Saudi border to Fujairah through all the 7 Emirates.
Yeah, okay.
So it was 650 kilometers in 6 days and 21 hours or something. Yeah.
Right.
So I linked my way. So the first couple of days were great. I ran, then I walked, then I hobbled, and then I literally linked myself to Fujairah and stood on the beach there 6 days and 21 hours later with an incredible support team who raised 70,000 dirhams for a Ugandan charity called Stop Marriage Education. And then about a year ago, I did a row for 52 hours. So concept 2 row at the gym. I sat on it 52 hours and did 10 back-to-back marathons. So about 4 months. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a record as well. Not a Guinness one, but concept 2 all over.
You're looking at somebody who thinks that running a half marathon is the biggest thing they've ever done in their whole life. So you just knocked me out. Had this conversation. Like, it's amazing.
Everyone's got their Everest. Everyone has these big challenges, and it's like people who come on our trips. Sometimes they get to the top of Kili, and that is the biggest thing they'll ever do in their lives. And other people get there and think, well, what's the next big one? And they go on to do Everest. So, everyone has their own sort of.
I think climbing Kili is quite a big challenge.
It's incredible. Yes.
Quite a major one.
It's my favorite one. I would climb Kilimanjaro every week of the year and take people up there. It is incredible.
I know, and I don't know if you've listened to Helen Farmer.
Yes.
Fine. She was telling, was she on your trek?
So she's with she actually went for Caroline to the company, but Caroline is her team leader. So had Helen's come into Uganda with us in the summer.
Amazing, because I was talking to her before and she's going, I don't know, I just need, and I was so amazed, inspired by her, because to do that when you've got young kids and incredible, absolutely incredible. Yeah,
she is. Yes, and she was great on summit night. From what Caroline tells me, she was super strong, one of the strongest in the group.
I can imagine.
It's amazing.
Yeah, she's got that real positive can-do attitude, hasn't she? So thank you ever so much. Now, what we need to do is we need to find out how do our parents get in hold of you? For the website?
We do, but we don't have the teens trip up there at the moment because we don't want people to book and then we want people to contact us first so we can have a chat with them and they can ask any questions. And then we're adding people to a WhatsApp group so that we're doing sort of the team meetings there at the moment. So they can email me or contact me or WhatsApp me. I'm always on WhatsApp. And then I can add them into the group and they can ask any questions. And it's kind of our USP is that we provide this huge amount of support because we are based here, people are based here, it's easy for us to go and have a coffee and chat and meet your kids and know more about me. So message me or then I'll chat into the WhatsApp group.
Okay, I'll add that to the bottom of our podcast. And what I'm going to say is that, 12,000 sounds a lot of money, but actually 12,000 to change your child's life is nothing in the scheme of things. And when you think of how much they put into all the other things they do, this is life-changing. So thank you so much. I've got a million questions I think I want to ask, but we're going to run out of time. You might ask you to come back, and we definitely want you to come back after the trip to find out all they do with the kids as well. But that's incredible. I know one of the children that's going, and I think she's going to have the time of her life. So thank you very much.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.